When I was in college, I was a horemongering, drunken fraternity boy.
You sound awesome!
I was a member of the Delta Upsilon fraternity.
Okay, stay clear.
Now,
That's one more thing
I want to tell you the whole sordid story. This goes back to 1960 when I was a freshman at Indiana University.
That's University.
Now,
Wait, what did you major in?
I was majoring in social studies, and I minored in English.
Did you study abroad?
This was in the day before co-ed dorms.
Dark Ages!
Back in those days, girls had hours. 10:30 on weekdays, 1 a.m. on weekends. And you weren't allowed to have anyone of the opposite sex in your room.
So, only gay stuff.
Over at the DU house, we had ways of getting around these restrictions. In the basement of our house was the dark room. By the way, girls, this was not a place for developing families. There was neither light nor window. The walls were painted black, lined with thickly cushioned leather couches. No!
Sounds like my nightmare.
And some of you frat boys probably
Was
know
Brother Jed in it?
how these
Just the couches.
like the feel
Had to clean the
of
semen off the couch!
That
That poor janitor.
Now, the floor of the dark room was covered with old, stained mattresses out of the door.
Those are the most comfortable.
So, was this your room or?
The dark room? Oh no, this wasn't my room. And now,
I don't know, I think any room he goes in.
we used to have exchange dinners with the sororities. You know what our
You
favorite
look very
sorority
severe back
was?
there. No, you.
Delta,
You look very severe.
Delta, Delta.
How can we help you?
The Tri-Delta. We had a saying back in those days, when all the other sorority girls fail, try a Delta.
Oh, I get it.
When we first brought the girls to the campus, we were playing the role of gentlemen, but we were anything but gentlemen. Now, back in those days, whenever you had a social function, you had to be chaperoned. Now, our house mother, Ma Meeks, acted as the chaperone. We had her well trained. She was never to leave the formal lounge.
It's hard to do it.
Now, no one spent more than 5 minutes in the formal lounge till we went to the informal lounge. And guess what was in the informal lounge?
Fornication!
Now, think about it. What would be a necessary ingredient for any fraternity party, even 50 years ago? Beer! Kegs of beer!
I like bourbon.
I only know craft beer. Because back in those days, you had to get the girls intoxicated before they were
everyone was
down.
And it was in black and white. Blushing now.
I'll never forget
I like that guy.
when I went off to college,
Maybe
my
giving him a
mother
flyer.
sat me down for a little heart-to-heart talk.
He has the fun.
Son,
And
you're
she
not my
said,
own.
son,
Give him a
you're
flyer.
going off to college. You want to find a nice girl to date, whom you may want to marry when you graduate. And I said, well, Mom, how do you know whether she's a nice girl or not? And Mom said, son, remember this. Nice girls don't smoke. And I said, well, Mom, thanks for telling me that. But what Mom did not know I wasn't really looking for a nice girl. I was looking for naughty and nasty girls.
As Pink Floyd said, looking for a dirty woman.
And so I always look for the girls who smoke. So I figured any girl who would stick a cigarette in her mouth.
Don't say it, Jeff.
Just liable to put anything in her mouth.
Like a lollipop?
Coming and going, then when you get to the point.
No, my dear, we're not talking about lollipops, but it is something people sometimes, perverted people, suck
But in these
on.
cases, it's about the same size.
Zinger!
So, it did not always work. Sometimes you would meet a girl who smoked and still wouldn't do much. So I had another trick. I would tell the girl a dirty joke.
Tell us one. Tell us
If she blushes or seems
I need an example of a
embarrassed,
dirty joke.
you
Remember your joke?
think, well, she's probably a nice girl. You might waste your whole evening. And who wanted to waste the evening talking to a female? Back in those days, I had no idea what to talk to the girls about. Back in the early 60s, girls weren't into sports. I didn't want to talk about babies
Except the lesbians.
and jewelry and fashion and that sort of thing. Well, if I found the girl who laughed at my dirty joke and smoked, it was time to make my move. I'd say, hey, sorority girl, perhaps we could go to the lounge and have a cigarette together. Whoa! Typically she would say, oh, Jeff, I would just be delighted having a smoke with you.
You know, referring
And I would escort her to the so-called lounge, open the door of the dark room, usher her in, and I'm afraid I can't tell you what happened after that.
Are you counting?
If you insist.
All right.
Maybe I can tell you this much.
I got my mojo
Many
ready.
a sorority girl was overexposed to the darkness. You see, boys and girls, God has given us a sexual appetite, sexual urges. But
Yep,
the only
I like
legitimate
females.
expression of our sexual urges is in the sanctity of holy matrimony, marriage. Marriage is
Marriage
honorable.
is what
Is
we
your wife here?
Is your wife here
But the whoremonger and adulterer, God will judge.
So when did you become religious? You're going to get to that part.
Yes, we're going to get to
I went into
that.
the fornication.
I went ahead and graduated from college with honors, despite all my drunkenness and whoremongering.
I thought you dropped out.
Oh, the plot thickens.
Well, you just graduated, so I don't think I am.
I just graduated.
I have a question.
Not out of college. Not out of...
I have a question.
So, wait, I'm telling a story.
All right.
I got a job teaching United States history to 11th graders in high school. Meanwhile, I completed my master's in history. And in 1967, there was a popular hit song.
I can't get no
It went like this.
satisfaction.
You're going to San Francisco.
Wrong one, damn.
Wear a flower in your hair. That song went on to say there's a whole generation with a new explanation. People in motion. So in 1967, I packed all my belongings in my new Ford Mustang. California, here I come. And I got an apartment in Berkeley and a job teaching in the Bay Area. This was when the Haight-Ashbury hippie scene was at its height. And one Sunday afternoon, I decided I would go to the Haight to a rock and roll concert. God knows.
That's the devil!
Get away from me! Guess who was playing that day?
Satan.
Question.
Grateful Dead! Listen, I'm telling the story. It's listen to these deadheads. One of these hippie types creeped up to me and offered me some marijuana.
Is that on there?
By the way,
It must be covered up. It's got
I
to be.
did inhale.
Just like just like Barack Obama. Yeah, that was the point.
I often think
No talking Islam's here. Jesus,
oh my charisma, I may have ended up president of the United States, but I made the mistake.
define charisma.
Yet, I went in one day to my principal and resigned my teaching position. And we went into the streets to demonstrate against the Vietnam War. Peace now! Peace now!
Peace now.
But of course, the Bible says there is no peace on the wicked. Well, eventually, Satan began to break up his training around the Haight, Telegraph Avenue, and Sunset Strip. And he sent his children across America and around the world to sow the seed of sex, booze, drugs, and rock and roll.
This is boring. Get to Zeppelin.
Being the obedient child of the devil I was,
Yes, this is my third one.
I left the Bay Area, returned to my home in Terre Haute, Indiana, began to deal in drugs, got involved in revolutionary causes, bringing great dishonor to my parents, especially my father, who was chairman of the English department at Indiana State. But I didn't care. I was going to do my own thing.
Someone get this wilderness
It
flyer.
was 1969.
He is
I was get within the system to bring about change revolution. And I got a
change we can
job
believe in.
teaching United States history at the University of Wisconsin.
Sincerity has sin in it too.
She's
By this time, I was a regular user of the psychedelic drugs.
No.
That explains a lot.
LSD.
Luciana's got a diamond.
You take LSD.
That was the year of the Kent State incident.
Yeah, I know.
And I was completely struck ahead. Get your head together. And I thought, yes, I need to get my head together. I laid out studying psychology. Those psychologists didn't get out the answer. So I returned to the university, got a research grant, became research assistant for the Institute on Research into Human Behavior.
Have you ever been in a mental institution?
I was given a job counseling freshman students in the dorm. And I'm ashamed to say that I did take advantage of my position of authority.
Do you have
Now,
sex?
it was all legal. The girls were all of age, but it was